is an English teacher at Northwestern High School in Rock Hill School District 3. Always carrying a big stick, Patti says, turns young people away from learning. She gives students an extra chance to succeed and gets to know them as individuals, showing that she cares about their success. Each day, she works to promote critical thinking and to make real-world connections with daily lessons. Patti earned a bachelor's degree from Appalachian State and a master's from Converse College. She's nationally board certified. Now let's take a close-up look at this 24-year classroom veteran.
Tell me, how did you learn about Uncle Sam? It's kind of like floored me that you didn't know who Uncle Sam was until...
I've been teaching 25 years. I'm currently at Northwestern High School, and I pride myself on being almost a teacher of all of South Carolina because I have taught at Columbia High School, Clover High School, Wren High School, T.L. Hanna High School, and now Northwestern High School. I decided to become a teacher for several reasons, mainly two. One is the influence of my grandmother. We call her Mama. Was very special to me. She pretty much raised me, and when she was young, or when I was young, teaching was the profession. And she admired teachers, and the teachers that went to our church, she was always in awe of them, and she really appreciated education. And the second reason I became a teacher or liked teaching is my teachers, especially my elementary teachers and one ninth grade teacher. And they influenced me because of the way they cared about me as a person. My fourth grade teacher, Ms. Haygood, who would dance on top of the table saying 6 times 7 is 42, and I can't even think of 6 times 7 without wanting to dance on the table. And then there's Ms. Putnam. She was my ninth grade English teacher, and she loved literature and she loved discussing literature. And I think in my classroom that's what I do a lot. And I probably get that from her because I personally got so much from that. So I took from her what I appreciated. And then there was Miss Robbins. She was my French teacher, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade year. And she was one of those teachers that I'm still in contact with her. So 3 teachers that really influenced just by taking a special interest in who I am, and my grandmother. Those are the 2 people, or the 2 situations that made me want to become a teacher.
It doesn't affect him at all, even though there's bombs going through his house and his...
Teaching is a rewarding profession because of the students and the praise that you get and the thank yous that you get from students years down the road. And that is the reward I get. It's not money. We don't go in it for money. We all know that. But you go in it because you care about the kids. And seeing them succeed is the biggest reward. So go by the guidance on your way out. Have a good trip. Good job. The biggest challenge facing teaching profession today is the perception of teachers and student success. Teaching today does not have the same respect, or people don't think of teachers as highly as they used to, and it's based on what they only hear as the test scores and the AYP and all of those terms. When we are doing the right thing in the classroom. And kids are learning. SAT scores are going up. And I'm proud to be part of a profession that allows everybody the opportunity to learn and to succeed.
Bullets flying through their hats. Like, it's just exaggerating how there's stuff going on all around America, but America isn't affected by it.
Good job. Good job. Over the years, I think the teaching profession has changed in that there is more of an emphasis on student involvement in their own education and student involvement within the classroom where the student participates in their learning, as opposed to the teacher just giving the information and expecting them just to memorize it, just to regurgitate it and throw it back out at the teacher. Instead, now I think the kids, when they come to us, they're smarter than they used to be. They have more experience, they know more, so when we get them, they're at a higher level, and I think that throughout the years, that has evolved. The standards have gone up, the expectations for the students, so by the time I get them in high school, there's not any place in the classroom for just teacher lecture. Students have to be involved and engaged in their own learning for it to be important to them. I've had several students that I feel like maybe if I made the difference or somehow some teacher, some way education made a difference in their lives. And I can think of specifically 2 people. One is a young man I taught for 2 years of English, honors English, and this young man talked all the time in class, and he ran for every office that could possibly be in the school. I was watching the news one day in Columbia, and there he was. I was very proud of him. Another student, and this one actually probably means more to me because this young man was sitting in my class, and he was getting ready to graduate, football star, awesome kid, but he hadn't passed what we call in South Carolina the HSAP, the writing portion of the HSAP. And we were sitting in class reading Shakespeare, and here's a kid who I was wanting to write a sonnet that had not passed the HSAP. So I took him aside and I said, let's you and I do something different. I said, while they're working on sonnets and they're writing sonnets, you write this essay. I said, we don't have to tell anybody, let's just do it. And so that's what we did, along with other teachers. I worked with the reading teacher across the hall, and she worked with him on the reading. I worked with him on the writing, and we exchanged ideas, and he passed. He got his diploma. And I probably am more proud of that than any kid that I have that makes 4s and 5s on the AP exam. Have some good words of advice for first-year teachers or people starting out in the profession. Number 1, put kids first. If any decision that you make in the classroom as a teacher needs to be for the student, always for the student. Whatever you have them to read, what you have them to write, any decision you make. Second, advice I would give a first-year teacher, be ready to make mistakes. It's going to happen. It still happens after 25 years. You make mistakes in your plans, the way you respond, but kids are very forgiving, and you grow from every mistake that you make.
One of your pieces, like a theme goes on the piece, okay? Like it's in humanity to man. So you would write on here, in humanity to man. And then if this is this group's theme.
I teach English, and in English we read a lot of things. And in reading, we find experiences that touch the kids, and we have lots of discussions. So when kids are in my classroom, they must feel safe to share those things, to know that they won't be ridiculed, they won't be made fun of, or any of those things. And I think it's very important for teachers to establish safe classroom in their classroom so students are willing to share in their writing, in their reading, not only with the teacher, but with the students too, like in whole class discussions. If you walk into my classroom, you will see many things. First of all, you will see me making mistakes with the kids, teaching the kids, crying with the kids, laughing with the kids, interacting with the kids. Student engagement and student interaction between the teacher and the student. I think that is one of the main things, if you come into my classroom, what you will see.
We have incongruity. What else have you seen, Olivia?
Exaggeration.
A recent lesson that I taught was on argumentation. And we were teaching students how to argue and how to do it logically, because so many times people argue, we argue with our passion. So I teach them the classical formula for arguing, like presenting their statement, their thesis, their support. And we recently wrote an argumentative paper on public education in America. And they had to agree and disagree or qualify whether public education was failing its students. And these essays have been awesome to read. And they had to back it up with their personal experience and with research from the internet. And it's really kind of funny that most of the kids, and 75% of the essays that I read, they say, this is what they found out, that public education isn't failing students, it's students who are failing themselves by not taking advantage of it. And I just thought that was great that they were enlightened that way, that they realized that that what we do, their educational system, is good.
Did they say, did people do it? Okay.
South Carolina is a good school system, and you don't always look at numbers. You look at students. We deal with students. We deal with people, with humans, with kids. And the kid that comes into your room that can't read, and that reads by the end of the school year, the one who can't write an analysis paper, or who's always, or the kid that wants the teacher to tell them the answer but by the end of the school year and they leave your classroom and they can think for themselves, we're doing the right thing. And that's the message we need to get out to the public, that South Carolina education is not failing its students.
So always remember that the tagline is very important.